Hi, I'm James. Playing a band called Rolo Tomassi. It's nice to be here. Nice to be chatting.
Yeah, nice to have you. And what have you guys been up to in Australia?
So we arrived maybe midnight last night. Um, so far sleeping. We tried to kind of see what was happening last night when we got in. I think everyone was sort of a little bit buzzed
Hmm.
from the travel and kind of didn't just want to go to bed straight away. I think people have been napping throughout the day as we were traveling in. So we tried to see if there's anything going on. It kind of felt like we were maybe a few hours too late. And I know it's a public holiday today, so
Yes.
wasn't quite anything to do. But this morning we've just got up, acclimatized, been for coffee. I went for a run in a park just to kind of
Nice.
try and feel some semblance of activeness. I've been very sort of passive and enjoying myself in the last week, so I couldn't resist the opportunity to do something that wasn't just drinking beer or eating really really rich food. So yeah, but happy to be here and like looking forward to kind of doing a few touristy bits tomorrow. We're gonna take the ferry to Rottnest to see the quokkas
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
ahead of the tour starting on Wednesday. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, you'll love Have you been to Rottnest before?
You know what? I haven't. I think the last time we came to Oz in 2016, I'm not even sure we did a Perth show. Um, and then before that, we weren't here for long enough to do anything kind of around just the gig. So it's
Yeah.
nice to have a couple of days in a city that I'm not too familiar with. We have a really good friend here as well, who we're going to go out for dinner with tonight, and she's given us loads of really cool tips.
Oh,
So
nice. That's
yeah.
awesome. You're touring with Sleep Makes Waves for their 10th anniversary tour. Have you guys had a long relationship with them?
So we were supposed to tour with them in 2020, and that didn't happen because of a global pandemic. And I think since then there's been sort of a willingness to try and make something happen again. I met them earlier this year at a festival in Europe and got to hang out and like really got on immediately and just could kind of tell that yeah, they would be like nice people to spend time with and a good band to play shows with. I think there's definitely something in our sounds that kind of complements one another and it sort of fits together in a cohesive way without being the same thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're looking forward to the shows and it's going to be nice playing with them.
Oh, awesome. Is being in a band with your sibling frustrating at times, or have you guys always gotten along?
I think to be honest, we've made it to nearly 20 years, so like it works.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I think probably when we were younger it was maybe a bit worse, but like I mean like we're both sort of in our mid 30s now, so it's all good. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. It's quite nice. So Eva lives in the US now, so I typically only really see her when we're playing shows, so it's nice to have something that kind of ties us together. I think if she'd have just moved to the US and we didn't necessarily have this, like we wouldn't be seeing each other half as much. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
No.
great. I'm grateful for that now at this kind of point in our lives.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. You guys started as a very DIY band with control over everything you guys release. Do you still retain some of that DIY, doing things yourself, or is that kind of out of you don't do that anymore?
I mean, I think we like to kind of I wouldn't use the word DIY anymore. I think that would be a huge disservice to bands that do everything themselves. Like we work with a label, we work with a booking agency, we have someone that does our press, and that we have like a really good team around us. But I think we like to retain kind of control and everything creative, and we've been really cautious in working with people that allow us to kind of have the final say in everything and that are
Yeah.
sort of there to, I guess, to kind of help us achieve what we want to do creatively. So the spirit of the kind of independence still exists, I suppose.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
um, but yeah, I wouldn't, we're kind of like we're very heavily involved in everything that we do. It's not like we just sort of reached the point where we kind of relinquished to kind of a lot of control or whatever. I think
Yeah.
it's so in our DNA at this point that we'd never want to kind of give everything up.
Yeah, no, no, that's really good. I think it's really awesome if you can retain that final say and, not just sit back and go, here you go, let everyone else deal with it. I like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah. From your very first album to your latest one, what stayed the same and what's been different between each one?
that's a good question.
A big one, sorry.
Stayed the same. I mean, the band name. I don't know. I mean, look, what's changed, I think, over time, the sound has definitely become slightly more focused. I think in the earlier material, it was definitely more chaotic, kind of scattered approach to the songwriting. And we were still kind of finding our feet, like as very young people, in terms of what we wanted the band to be, what music we were into. And I think naturally over time, like the things that you like and the art that you like changes as you get older and sort of your tastes change. I mean, I definitely don't just listen to the same music that I did when I was 16. And that's obviously gonna over time kind of pour into what you're doing and what you want your output to be.
Yeah.
I think the other side of that coin is well, what stayed the same is just a desire and a willingness to make interesting music and what the operative word being interesting, that's what changes over time, what interests you.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, kind of staying true to that as the ethos and attitude at least has remained the same.
Yeah, because I listened to your earlier stuff and then your later stuff, and there's such a difference. Do you feel that as well in the
Oh
sonic?
yeah, of course, yeah, and I think it would be weird if there wasn't any difference over such a long amount of time and six records. And I think as well, it's kind of important to point out that the first we have a different lineup to the band that played on the first record now,
Yeah,
and I think bringing in new people that have a big say in the writing is obviously going to make it sound different. And that's good. I think the lineup that we have now are significantly more in tune with each other and kind of want to pull in the same direction. Whereas before, and this was, we played to it as a strength at the time. We had like everyone kind of wanted to do something a bit differently, and that led to like interesting results. And I mean, to say something's interesting is not always to say that it's good.
hmm,
Um, but I still look back on the early stuff quite fondly and the experiences that we had, and it's nice to sort of see where it started and where it's at now.
yeah, yeah, I agree. How did you come to start playing the synthesizer or the keys?
So I have played piano from like quite a young age, and I guess at the time when we started our band, it felt like every band had two guitarists, a bass player, a drummer, and a vocalist, and I think we wanted to be different, I suppose, and just yeah, we thought we were being edgy. I don't know. It's felt like a cool thing to do at the time, and then kind of back myself into a bit of a corner with it. I played guitar when the band first started,
Okay.
but yeah, I was listening to a ton of music at the time that had like keyboards or a slightly different influence, and I knew that it was something that I could do, and that's kind of it really. Like, yeah, nothing more to it than that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you're right. Like it separated you guys from the other bands, like you said, that just
Right.
had that.
That
The
was it. We were the band that had a keyboard and a
Yeah,
female vocalist, which, when we started
yes.
wasn't quite as common. So we were kind of really, yeah, doing our thing to stand out, I suppose.
And she's an amazing female vocalist as well at that. So is it easier nowadays to capture your audience and fans compared to when you guys first started in terms of social media, or were you guys already doing the social media thing way back when you started?
So I think we were lucky in that we were part of a generation of bands that were first kind of had social media as a tool. Like, we started out on MySpace and were able to kind of really use that to engage with an audience and to book tours and to find the bands and like-minded people.
Yeah,
Um, so I guess from the band's beginnings, it's that's always been there and always been something we've been able to kind of harness to use. And I mean, I suppose there's probably an argument that it was easier to reach people then on it than it is now, given that everything's been monetized within an inch of its life and things you post aren't necessarily reaching the audience you want them to and all of that. And this kind of it's come full circle in a way that mailing lists seem to be the only effective way to kind of communicating anything. But yeah, I mean, we've always been a band that's existed online and been able to use that to reach the audience that we've got for better
yeah,
or worse.
for
Yeah.
sure. You guys are playing at the Sydney Opera House in Sydney, which is a very fancy place. Can fans still expect the heaviness they know from you guys at that show, or will you tone things down a bit?
Oh no, of course. I mean, look, we're going to go out and put on the show that we want to put on that is like true to what we do. it's just in a nice famous building. Like I think it's one of those things. I think sometimes when I talk to people at home, like friends that maybe don't necessarily get what our band is or does, but like they still want to be nice about it. Like being able to say like, "Oh, we're going to play the Sydney Opera House next
Mm,
week." You know, it's huge world, like global landmark that everyone knows, and
yeah.
the idea that we can go and do that, like, yeah, it's funny. Like it legitimizes it to family members that don't understand, or I don't want to say I don't understand. That's not fair, but
Yeah.
that can't relate to the music.
Yeah.
Like, it's yeah, it's quite a cool thing to do. And I mean for us as well, every time we've been to Sydney in the past, like we've been out to the Opera House in the Harbour and had a look and like I've never been in, so I'm just very excited to have the opportunity to do that. Like,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
very
no, it's I think it'll be amazing for you guys. The acoustics, I've been there a few times and seen a few shows. The acoustics are just on another level and yeah,
amazing.
I think you guys will really do so well there. Is there any plans for any future music from you guys?
Yeah, we recorded some new music earlier this year. That's going to come out next year. We're still figuring that out. And we just put out a live record on Friday last week, which is yeah, something we've not done before as well. And like we've got a few other creative things kind of bubbling in the background. I guess everything will become a bit clearer in the next few months, and
Yeah.
announcements will be up as and when they're ready. But yeah, we finished some new music, and it's going to come out next year.
Oh, exciting. I'm a huge fan of Enter Shikari, and you guys I've noticed listening to Enter Shikari and you guys that there's some similarities there, and you guys have played with them. Are you guys friends or are you close with any other bands that maybe you look up to or anything like that?
I mean, we know those guys, and like if I saw them at a festival, I would definitely say hello, and like we're kind of on hello terms. I wouldn't
Yeah.
I wouldn't sort of pretend
Yes.
it was anything more than that. But like
Yeah.
I have really good memories of touring with them. Like the band and the whole team were like awesome with us, and they were really big shows. And it's very, very cool to see that band kind of go from strength to strength, like globally. And again, they're a band that's kind of really done it their own way and independently, and I have a lot of respect for that.
Yeah.
Um, Bands that we're friends with, I feel like we're such a dull,
No.
the kind of the whole backstage mythos is just, we like to just eat well, drink good coffee, and like hang out with each other. It's
Yeah. No,
yeah,
that's good.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, we had a very good time in Tokyo. We did like karaoke and went to baseball, the Studio Ghibli Museum. Like this is kind of like a bit of an insight into to that, yeah, the kind of things we like to do when we're away. It's nice to have time around playing to be tourists. I think, we've
Yeah.
tried to treat this trip as a bit of a holiday because
Oh
this is
yeah.
the only tour that we've done this year actually. So we wanted it to be like a big one and a good one and something that was going to be fun outside of getting to play shows. So
Yeah. Oh, I think that's important because otherwise, if you're just touring straight, I can imagine it could just get monotonous.
AIDS, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And I think, it's the travel schedule now we're in Australia. As soon as the tour starts, it's pretty full on, like a lot of early starts at airports and flights and all of that. So we wanted to make sure we got in yeah, just got to see some things before it started.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, very, very
Um,
grateful to have done that.
yeah. If I was to jump on your Spotify, what bands would I see?
My personal Spotify.
Yes.
Oh, good question. Let me just you know what? I'm literally looking at it now because I can't even remember what I've been listening to this week. I
Yeah.
think I've been like out and just seeing things all week that I've not even really been listening to music. So okay, so recently I've been listening to the new album from our friends in Harriet. They just put out a record last week. The story so far, my girlfriend really got me into that band and they put out a great record this year. Weezer, I've listened to a lot in the recent past.
Oh wow.
And then also let's go with what else have I got in here? Angel Dust is something that I've listened to loads this year. Outside of playing in our band, like I do a lot of freelance work running shows for promoters in the UK.
Oh
And
wow.
I worked a gig that they did earlier in the summer and they really blew me away. Absolutely loved it. And yeah, it's just really good, fun music when the weather's like this. Yeah, just really good, solid kind of like punky hardcore. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh, that's sick. Is there a song that you love to play live of yours?
There's a few that since the newest record came out that I've just loved every time. There's one in particular called To Resist Forgetting. I think it's just got loads of energy. I really like the parts that I play in it, and it seems to get a great reaction every time we play it. I look forward to it whenever it
Yeah.
comes up in the set.
Oh, nice. Can you believe you've been in this for 19 years?
Yeah, it's I can. And it doesn't make it any less sort of a thing.
Yeah.
I'm really happy that we've kind of stuck it out for this long and that we're still at this point getting these opportunities and getting to come and play places like Australia. This is the fifth time that we've been over. You know, and that's with one failed attempt as well. So
Yeah.
it's awesome that there's still people that are into what we're doing, that we're getting these chances, and yeah, we're super grateful for it. We feel kind of really creative and excited to keep working on new music and kind of keep pushing it forwards. And yeah, it's a
Oh,
good thing. Yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you so much, James. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on here. Best of luck with the tour, and we
Thanks
can't
very
wait to
much.
see the show.
Awesome. It's very nice to chat. Thanks for your
Thank
time.
you.